Hi, welcome to Latinas Empoderadas. I'm Jackie, and this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Kelsey.
We're super excited to have you guys here. It's been a long time coming. We have a lot of different topics that we're going to be talking with you guys about, so stay tuned for everything that we have in store for you guys. So, Latinas Empoderadas. Honestly, this name has been like in the back of my head for some time now. I've been kind of praying and trying to figure out what can we do to kind of empower women and just encourage everybody to be their baddest selves and just believe in themselves. I feel like this industry is very overpowering. It is very demanding and scary, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, you know what? Latinas Empoderadas, because that's who we are and that's what we are and we need to believe it. So, of course, my lovely friend Kelsey, she's like the friend that you need in your life. Because I've been sitting on this idea for the longest. I swear I can show you guys a picture. I bought mics on Amazon like during COVID.
Literally.
No, not kidding. And I've been kind of talking to her about it. And I'm not even kidding you. 3 weeks ago, I was here and I was like, yeah, the podcast. And she's like, what are you waiting for? Let's do it. She's like, all right, we're booked. We're booked on this day. So I was like, okay, my co-host is here. We got the name. Let's do it. Let's run with it. So it's just a powerful name and we have to embrace who we are. And we're powerful women, whether you're in the beauty industry, whether you're just a mom, whether you have a 9-to-5 job. And I feel like that is really big in the industry because people want to kind of, put you down when you're not an entrepreneur, when you're not a mom and you're just a hustler because you work a 9-to-5. And that is not true. You are Latina Empoderada. So get it together, get up and be who you want to be your better self. And we're just here to encourage you.
Amen.
So I'm Jackie, Body X Jackie. I am in the beauty industry. So I did grow up in this beauty industry. My mom literally had a beauty salon since she was pregnant with me, before even that. But she was in this like beauty industry where you had to work that 9-to-9 job, Monday through Sunday. And I definitely grew up in a household where my mom was a hustler, but she was never home. And it's just something I did not want to carry on for my family. So just growing up and kind of being behind the chair and seeing different, opportunities that could come around, I decided to do more of a booth rental type of situation and suites. So I started off with booth rental in one of my salons and gradually just grew into having beauty suites. And I literally think it's probably the best thing I've ever done. This industry has changed a lot. And I love the fact that I'm able to kind of work on my own schedule. And I know this sounds super like everybody says it, be your own boss, but literally be your own boss. I think being a mom and, a wife and all that good stuff, you honestly need to be able to have that balance and be able to kind of run your own schedule. So I just decided to be more of an owner rather than being so much behind the chair, but I still am behind the chair. The beauty suites are my strong, I guess you could say, and I love it, and we are growing from there. And that's kind of how I met Kelsey. So I'm going to let her tell you who she is and what does she do.
Thank you. That's nice. So my name is Kelsey. I actually got into the beauty industry about 3.5 years ago. Well, no, let's say 5. I started with wanting to be a lash artist. And I thought...
I definitely remember when you came in and you told me you took a lash course.
For sure. I did take a lash course. I can't really remember. This has to be like for sure more than 5 years ago. And I did that because I was chasing the money.
Dream.
Not the dream, girl. More like the money. Like
the freedom.
My friend would do my lashes and I'd be like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like she has her 9-to-5 and she's doing this on the side. So that's how I got my foot into the door. But that was definitely not for me. And I got discouraged really quick on that. When I didn't see money coming in and I was just like investing and doing all these things, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And I'm not big like on beauty, I guess you could say, where I like to do my hair. I like to do my own makeup. I like to get things done. So I never really saw myself to be in the beauty industry. the way that I am today. But yeah, I think that's how really the Keratin Lab
came about.
You know, I again took a course, and
oh my gosh, courses.
I know,
girl, the amount of money we've spent on courses.
Yeah,
I cannot.
Again, you have to invest in yourself.
Yes.
But so, which is funny because I was doing something else at this point. I had a whole different business. You know, COVID hit, and I had my own business. It was like a pastry, floral arrangement, balloon, and that's really where I was like, okay, this is for me in the sense of being your own boss, right? Like, I don't want to go back to that 9 to 5 anymore. But then that slowed down, and that's when I decided I took a course because I got it done on my hair, and it like completely changed my hair. And after that, I quickly invested into another course for more guidance, more knowledge. And that kind of just took off. Like, to see, I always hear like clients or friends like, oh my God, you're so successful. And it's like, I'm definitely still not where I want to be. But to see the growth in just these last 3.5 years has been like, amazing. Like,
definitely. And I've seen,
who would have thought
I'm
in this beauty industry? Like, what?
And I feel like a lot of people get scared to jump into the beauty industry because they're like, well, what if I don't make it? And you honestly don't make it the first year.
No, you don't.
Like the
Absolutely
second year.
Not. Yeah, no.
Like, it's definitely hard.
It is.
And I don't want to call it competition, but there's competition out there, and it really just depends how bad do you want it and how much effort you're going to put into this. It's definitely not everybody kind of, and like we're talking about courses, everybody's like a quick buck. Let me just take this course. But girlfriend, if you're not in it with like love and affection for your business and you're just in it for the money,
the heart, if you don't have the heart for it,
you're definitely not gonna, I mean, maybe you'll get far, but not far enough to where you're gonna be in this for years and generations to come. And I think that's kind of where me and Kelsey get along, because obviously I always say this, solo nos mantenemos, ¿verdad? But there's love into it, and we want generational wealth for our kids. We want to build an empire for our kids. So if you're even thinking about joining this industry, highly recommend it, but invest in different courses. You got to invest money to make money.
Oh my God. One time I remember somebody told me, like, I think it was when I announced that I was doing like keratin treatments, and they're like, oh my God, like, what don't you do? And I kind of was like, oh, like, I took that as like, like, what are you saying? Right. But then I'm like, it's good to know different things, you know, because you never know. But honestly, that I would have never known that this was for me had I not taken that step.
That chance on yourself.
Or even the chance, like the start of COVID, that I decided to start my own little small business doing pastries, balloon arrangements, floral arrangements, like that. And I love that. I thought that. I still love it till this day. I just, you know, had to let that go because this is what's for me. I think this is literally like my calling. But yeah, it was really that question that I was like, wait a minute, like, how do you know what is for you if you can't even sit there to try something? You're not willing to come out of your comfort zone. Like, that's crazy to me,
Over
right?
to el que dirán. Because everybody, like she said, like, they're like, well, what course haven't you taken? Because I've done lashes. I've done it all. But I feel like you're going to find your calling. And when you find it, you're literally going to do it with love. And you're not going to want to leave, whether it's your suite, your salon, wherever you're at.
Your 9 to 5.
Yeah, your 9 to 5. And I always want to like make sure you're reminded, if you have a 9 to 5, girl, kill it in that 9 to 5. If that's what you love, please make your money. Just because somebody's an entrepreneur or like a business owner does not mean that we're better than a 9 to 5. And I feel like so many people look down on 9 to 5s.
It's because like, a 9 to 5 is not glamorized.
And it should be, because girl, they got health insurance, they got vacations, they get paid for
time
shit.
off. Literally, we don't.
So just keep, like, this is what this podcast is about. I want you guys to remember that we're here to empower. We're here to remind you that you can literally be anything. And you know, one thing I think I've came to learn in this like last 2-3 years, because I've gone into different business ventures, I get scared that one of my businesses is not going to work out. And like, oh my God, like what are they going to say? Like, me miran como this powerful girl and one of my businesses failed. And you know what? Yeah. It's okay. It's okay because I read it somewhere and I want to look for it. I have it in my phone. But somebody said, like, girl, if something was working out for you a year ago, doesn't mean it's going to keep working for you within the next year. And it's okay to let go of it and start again. And I feel like being women, we do get scared to kind of let go of our, like you were saying, our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So it's definitely about finding yourself and figuring out what you love to do and what makes you happy, just like it makes that other person happy.
But know that you will not know what you love to do until you start trying different things. It's not at the first. Like me, I was like, oh, I'm going to do lashes, right? Like this is going to be it. It was not. No. Then boom, I went on to my next business venture, right? Which was like pastries and all that stuff. And it was fun. I loved it. But see, that was giving for me because it was COVID.
Yeah.
Nothing was open. So it's like I was the one doing deliveries. I was the one that was like available. You know, these other businesses that had probably already been in the game, they had to be shut down, right? And then around that same time, I decided to partner up with a friend of mine for a trucking business, like to get into trucking business. And I did that. And again, that, like you mentioned, like you don't want to fail. That was a failure.
Yeah.
That was a failure. And that's when I was like, oh my God. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to my 9-to-5 now. And I did. I did go back to my 9-to-5. I want to say in 2021. But for a short period of time, because by then I already knew
you had in your
what
blood.
I was capable of or what
out.
I can do. Yes, there's struggles. There's going to be struggles all the time. But I think that's really where the dream is at. Like, with the journey that it takes. Like, had I never done any of that, that wouldn't have given me the heart to continue to keep looking for what was actually for me, you know, like, and that's when I got into like, okay, let me take this hair course because let's see, I still have my 9-to-5, but I don't really want this anymore, you know, having to clock in or like, I'm always late. I was always getting in trouble for being late.
Always late.
You know, but I think Steve Harvey said people who are late, they are the most successful. So it's
girl,
okay.
Bye. Girl, literally, I say 7. She shows up at 8:30, but it's okay. We get it done.
No, but so yeah, it's like, that's really what it was, you know? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, I always dreamed of like being someone, right? When I was small, and I'm like, maybe this is what this is. So I decided to just take the leap of faith and just like, okay,
believe in yourself.
I'm gonna do believe.
Yes.
No one else is going to believe in you. They might hype you up or like, yeah, but in reality they can't because they're limited. You know?
And they're not going to believe in you if they don't even see that you believe in your own self.
Or sometimes you do have people that believe in you and you don't see that. But honestly, it really is like, yes, you are going to fail, but that you have to fail
in order to
gain wisdom and know that you can keep going. And the next time that you fail, you don't feel as bad because you're like, you know what? God does have my back.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes we want it on our time, and it's not.
Preach,
it's on
girl,
his time.
preach,
like,
girl,
I wanted to be an entrepreneur a long time ago, but no, this is it. This is the time. It's his timing, like always. And you just have to tap into your faith, honestly. That's really like what it is. And that is the reason why I decided to be on this podcast, because that's what you're trying to tell the world. You know, you want to tell your story. You want to empower other women, not just women, even men who might be watching this. Like, okay, you don't need to be at your 9-to-5 if you have aspirations, dreams, like, you know, because if that job is literally putting you in a state of stress and like sucking the life out of you, like, you need to do something, right?
Take
like,
a little stress relief and go look into something else. You need to do
something, because that's not good. Like, you got to put the pros and the cons. And if that's just too much for you, okay, you know what? Make a plan. Let me start saving have some savings. I'm going to do this. There's other ways
But
too.
I feel like too, people, if you never try, you never know that you don't want to be in a 9 to 5. And I'm talking from experience. My husband's probably going to hate me for doing this. But my husband was a total 9 to 5 type of guy. Again, it's okay. And he wouldn't, not that he wouldn't understand the hustle, but he would just be like, it's okay. Like, all right, you already went to work. Now you're home. Like, let's just settle. And I would be like, babe, but what if we do this? What if we do that?
Yeah.
And he's like, girl, like, stop with like all your ideas. Like, we're good where we're at. And I'm like, yeah, I know we're good where we're at.
You can't be still.
But I, not that I want more, but I want more. I want more for our kids. So backstory, making it short real quick. He took a time from work because we did open up our suites, and he was one of the main reasons why I was able to open up the suites. He was the one behind the scenes. And girl, tell me why he an entrepreneur now. He's like, all right, I'm not going back to work. What's next on the agenda, Jackie?
That's awesome.
What are we doing?
That's awesome.
So definitely, like you said, this is not just about women. It's about men too. And I think us as women, we need to encourage our men to be like, hey, baby, it's okay. If you want to take a little break, I got us. Go figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
Go and figure out what your calling is and chase after your dreams. I feel like in this world, we need to be each other's partners, literally, not just like, well, you're the man, you got to pay the bill, you got to take care of me. No, sis, pick up that slack a little bit, let your man handle him and figure it out. Because when you both are winning and you both feel like you're on top of the world, there is nothing that is going to stop you guys.
Amen.
Literally.
Amen to that.
Reminder, go hug your husband and tell him, babe, you want to quit your 9 to 5? I got you.
I love that because, that is true. But yeah, so that's, again, how I guess you could say our story came from, you come from a background of, like you said, your mom's been a stylist for many, many years. And sometimes, again, I feel like people are like, well, I don't know that, right? Like, or I don't, and that's why you don't go into it. But I literally do not regret
taking the leap of faith
and being in this industry, because it's crazy. The beauty industry has boomed a lot. Like
tremendously. This is nothing compared to what it was when I graduated school back in 2009. Like, social media has definitely switched up the game, and it's so beautiful to see the growth that there is in social media and the beauty industry, but it does get ugly, and just be ready to conquer everything that comes your way, and don't put your whole faith into somebody or a business. Put it into yourself, and as long as you got yourself, like Kelsey mentioned, like, there's nothing else that can stop you in this industry. And I think it goes to, how did we meet? Because I feel like a lot of people are always like, we're totally different people, by the way. I'm from the IE. Kelsey's from...
I'm from LA, girl. South Central.
And I'm very, I don't want to say that I'm not bougie, but I'm really not. I'm like, whatever. I show up in like gym clothes, and Kelsey's like, we're going to go eat. Like... I'm not even going to tell you guys.
Not all the time,
I'm going to tell you right now, she let me borrow heels for the podcast because she's like, you're not going to wear your tennis shoes. It's like, okay. So you need a friend like Kelsey. But how did we meet? I'm going to let you introduce that.
So.
Because she slid in my DMs.
Wait.
Yeah.
Did I thought it was the other way around.
No.
Okay, girl.
Pull up receipts.
See, I should have pulled up those receipts. I actually, again, I think we met back, 2021?
Yeah,
like late 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for sure, late 2021. Okay, I don't know if I slid in your DMs, you slid in mine, but you were like, hey, I have this. I'm a business owner. This is what I offer. Like, I can help you kind of like build your
business coaching.
Yeah, there you go. She was doing business coaching. And I was like, oh my God, okay, that sounds, again, I'm always up to learning. And I was very, very new to this industry. So I'm like, okay. And I kind of just looked at her profile and I'm like, all right, she seems like she knows what she's talking about,
legit.
Right? Like, she seems legit.
She ain't gonna scam me.
She's not gonna scam me. Like, let me go over there, right? So we set up a day and time. I went over to her studio in Ontario.
I was in Ontario, yes.
Yeah, this is where you were doing trainings for
body sculpting. Oh, that's a whole nother story, guys.
Yeah.
I was a body sculptor.
So anyways, we met up, and then I think, you asked me, what are your goals? We're going to get on a call, X, Y, and Z. And then right after that, back to courses. I started doing courses, trainings, because I had a lot of my clients ask me, like, hey,
are you teaching?
And I'm like, no, not yet. Because I did not want to start teaching until I knew that I had something that I did different, that I can teach you, right? Not like, oh, I bought this course, I bought that course, and I'm just going to give you this. Like, whatever I learned from there, I'm just going to copy and paste. I'm not a copy and paste girl. So once I learned to have a different technique, then I was like, okay.
It's time to take on the world. Literally.
Why not, right? And honestly, like, taking it back, I used to work in the dental field. That's what I did prior to being my own boss. I worked in the dental field for like 9-10 years, and I loved it. Like, I literally did. And I used to help the doctor, like, with treatment planning and selling the case and all that. So I already had...
You already had the sales part in you.
I had the sales part in me, but besides that, I would train the new girls. Or, like, I would always tell my manager, like, they're not doing it right. Like, let me...
Yeah.
And she would always be like, oh, my God. Like, you just always want to jump in. I'd be like, yeah, because that's not the way that you do it. Like... Or like how you mentioned earlier, like, be at your 9 to 5, but kill that shit, right? And that's how I would be at my 9 to 5. I was making sure that I was securing contracts left and right and having new patients coming in the door. Like, I took pride in that. Like,
no, legit, she can sell you a shampoo. She literally sells shampoos. Like, she could sell you a shampoo, and she has the knowledge to back you up. Okay, it's really not like she's just talking out of her ass.
I do, and I love that, because a lot of my clients, I hear that, like, oh my God, girl, why don't you do like lives, or why don't you do videos? Like, I didn't know this. You're so knowledgeable. And I'm like, because I really put my heart into whatever it is that I do. And so that's why it was easy for me to get into teaching, because, like I said, I kind of already knew that I had it. And that just opened up a whole different, like, world for me too. You know, it's hard. A lot of the time girls go into it for the buck, right? Like, oh yeah, let me charge you $500 for a training because I'm going to secure these $500 with 10 girls. But then they don't realize the actual work. Yeah. You're taking somebody under your wing. You have to teach them. You have to be there when they meet you, not just because they came to your class and then that's it. These girls are going to have questions. And I think that's why I took other trainings, because I was left with, like, really nothing. I'm like, or I was afraid to ask, you know, like, and no, if you're paying somebody to teach you something, to be your mentor, you have to ask all the time, or if you need help. So, and I started seeing a lot of that, like, wait, and I feel like that did happen with the lash, industry. When I got into it, girls were teaching classes at like $400, right? But then you were left with like nothing. Like, you have questions. I don't even have my manual. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. So that's another reason too why I never felt confident in that, because something is scary when you don't know it, you know? So yeah, I pretty much was like, I think like 4 months in, to be honest, like when I was like, okay, let me do my first class, and girl, it sold out. I had to have like a second date, and I was like, whoa.
Why? That's when we started working together.
Yeah, we started working together early that following year when I started renting out your place for the trainings, because I needed a bigger spot for that. So I think that's where we really became close, and you have the same hunger, the same drive, the same heart, because you care for your people. When you do something, you do it wholeheartedly. You're not just like, oh, I want your money, right? Like, you're behind that person. And even to this day, you're still mentoring me. Like, years later, you're still mentoring me, right? But that's how we kind of crossed our paths and became tight. And then I was like, hey, Jackie, let's do classes together. I want you to bring on the business side. These girls need to know what that is, because see, that's not my specialty. You've been in the game for so long. You have your businesses and you know, they're solid. You know all about taxes, how to start it, etc. Versus, you know, I didn't. And we worked together all of 2022.
Yeah, we did.
We had trainings every single
And mind
month.
you, I had like a 1 month old baby at home.
Yes, she did. So,
and I feel like that's hard to find in this industry. A friend that,
yes.
I mean, basically we kind of do the same thing. We do work, you know, behind the chair, whatever it is. But to have a friend that sees potential in you and sees that you can grow with her, along with her, and she wants to bring you on. And I feel like that's something that, I mean, I've been in the industry my whole life, and I really have never found up until I met Kelsey. And I feel like that's kind of what made our bond a lot stronger. Yeah. That, you know, she wasn't scared. And one of my friends told me this today, like, she wasn't scared that because you guys knew the same thing, I was going to be better than her. No, because everybody has their own sauce, but not the recipe. So I feel that's something that we need to remind ourselves in this industry, that just because we do the same thing, we are not each other's competition. If we work together, it would be so much better. You can grow so much faster.
Yeah.
And you can have so many more opportunities. There's so many opportunities growing for both of us, and it can be individual and for our business. Mm-hmm. And just, you know, keep looking for that friend in the industry, because you will find that friend in the industry. And don't be discouraged, because girls are gonna screw you over, talk behind your back, do all the things.
I've done the whole big salon vibe where I basically just threw myself in there when I was like, oh no, okay, because I used to work from home. I used to do house calls, obviously. And I'm like, no, I need something more professional, right? Like, if I want to attract the right clients, because then my friend introduced me to her friend, who she's like, hey, she has a booth available for rent. And that's where I realized, like, my clients would come, and if I'm like 2 minutes late, like, the girls would be there and they wouldn't even greet my client. And I'm like, oh my God, like,
great that we're on the same team.
Besides being on the same team, but like, manners or education. Like, when they would be late, oh, who do you have an appointment with? Oh, so and so. Okay, have a seat. If you need anything, let me know. She'll be in shortly. Like, you know, no, they wouldn't even bother acknowledging them, right?
Yeah.
And I would always hear like, oh, her product, the fumes, it's too, like, it smells and this and this. And then it would be the same women who later on were like, oh, can I buy your product?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, and I feel like that's why, to a lot of girls, I don't even know where to go work, or like if they want to be home, because it's catty out here. It is very catty. So again, I mean, she took you what, 3 locations to find?
It took me
to find like your spot.
2, because the first one I wasn't really there for long, because I found the second one where I shared with one of my sisters, and we were there for over like a year until I finally found my own place.
Exactly. You know? So it takes a while, and the world is catty, but you'll find your place, you'll find your calling. And just imagine if you would have just stopped because the girls were mean girls.
Mean, yeah.
Like, girl, this is true. Salon girls are mean girls for the most part.
I'm like, wait, am I in high school again? Yeah. Like, what's going on?
I feel like that's why, too, the beauty industry has grown a lot with the suites. And everybody always has something to say about suites, whether it's good or bad. But it's up to you. It's what you and your client need, right?
I think that's something that is not really talked about, you know?
Yeah, because
I
see a lot of comments on IG, but, you know, I'm a suite owner, so I don't like to clap back, but I'm going to clap back now. It's really upon what you and your client need, what you and your business need. Yeah, what if you're paying $1,000 for a little room, because that's what people like to say. But guess what? That piece that you're getting for you and your client, that one-on-one and that like vibe. Girl, sometimes you want to listen to corrido. Sometimes you want to listen to gospel. You can't do that when you're around 10 other girls that always maybe are giving you mean looks or giving your clients mean looks.
Well, see, that goes back to what I said earlier on being in a 9-to-5 and being in a toxic environment. That's also a toxic environment. Definitely. That's why I said, don't glamorize like the beauty industry, because it's really not always glamour, girl. Like, you have to find the right team, the right friend. And I think a lot of girls don't find that, because it's always like, oh, we do the same thing, right? Like, we have to be in competition. No, you have to be in competition literally just within yourself.
Yeah.
I want to be better than I was yesterday. What can I change? Like, to me, it's always like, wait, why didn't that client come back? Right? Like, what did I do? Versus like, oh, what's my neighbor doing? Like, no, I don't care about whatever anybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny, taking it back to girls in this industry are mean. When I was very present in doing trainings and selling my product to other girls who wouldn't take my trainings, and, you know, they'll come and pick up and they'll be like, oh yeah, my trainer was so-and-so and she was talking about you. And I'm like, who is this? Like,
yeah.
What? Like, they don't even follow me. Like, why are they talking about me, right? Like, and that just shows you, like, people are always watching, but it's like,
Mm-hmm.
girl, or they'll follow me from their personal pages, girl, like,
yeah,
keeping tabs. And I'm like, you know, we can, like,
yeah, well, give them something to watch, right?
be friends, or like, we're in the same industry, we're in this together. Right now, with all my new students, or even just previous ones, like, when I have clients that are like, oh, I'm coming from so-so, like, you don't know anybody closer, I'm like, I have this girl, or I have that girl,
Mm-hmm.
or I send them to you if they're in the IE. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna be thinking that I'm entitled to these clients, because I'm not. And I think that's the problem, that we
Mm-hmm.
think these clients have to stay with us. But what if I have my client for X amount of time and then I'm like, oh, I'm not available, go to Jackie, and she likes your vibe more?
Yeah.
That client's always going to go wherever they feel more comfortable
Yeah.
or want to be at.
And
So
they're the paying customers.
They are the paying customers.
We
So
need to
it's-
understand that too, as being in the beauty industry.
And I think when you know, or you're that confident in yourself, as far as like, well, okay, you know what, I'm going to refer this person because I'm not available, or whatever it was. Like, if that client loves you, they're going to come back to you no matter what.
no matter what. Yeah.
You know?
So just take pride in the job that you're
Yeah.
doing, and don't worry about the outside noise, and just
Yeah.
keep doing you. Focus on your business, and your business, where it will grow, it will prosper, and go find yourself a bestie in the hair industry.
I'm still thinking about how she said she slid in my DMs. I'm going to go
No,
back
she
and
did.
check,
I'm
because
going to show you guys. She slid into my DMs.
I'm like, wait, hold up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have that.
So yeah, that's how we became tight and close. And we
Yeah.
always have had different projects. I think we were very busy with those classes, and we have so many ideas. And that's why I'm like, hey girl, like, this is it. Like,
We're
we've been
coming.
wanting to do this
Yes.
podcast. And I'm like, well, if you don't put a date, it's not
just
going to happen.
Yeah. So no,
We're
literally.
moms. We have personal lives, but like, we have to have that balance.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like this is the era where we're gonna finally, I mean, we've been doing it, right? But doing things that we love, and that, again, generational wealth. Like, this is the era
Yeah.
for us to grow personally, and in our business, and in our families. So just stay tuned for everything that we have in store for you guys.
And there's really no age for that.
No,
I do
not
want to
at
add
all.
this. My mom is 52 years old, and a couple years ago, she just started her own business in Mexico.
Mhm.
She's still working here, her 9 to 5, and she has 3 businesses in Mexico.
Okay,
girl. And she's like, I'm trying to secure my retirement. Like, when I'm done working here, I'm going to go to
I'm out.
Mexico,
So
and
you
I
guys
have
get your
that,
shit
right?
together.
So there's really no right time. It's just when you have faith in yourself and
yourself.
believe in yourself to go. And she is like literally one of my biggest inspirations, because I've seen her hustle my whole life. She was a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she had to work Monday through Saturday. I would only spend Sundays with her. I grew up kind of resenting her, I think, because I'm like, hey,
Same.
my tias have to take me to
Yeah.
school, my doctor appointments, like, where are you, right? And it wasn't until I had my first kid that I was
Mhm.
like, immediately I was like, no, she did the best that she could with what she had, and she still provided, and she still has that hustler in her.
Yes.
And I think that's why I like to work. Like, I started working when I was like 15, you know, and
Mhm.
she threw me in like, hey, you're going to work with my friend. And
Yeah.
my mom was like, look, don't pay her. I'm going to pay her, but you're not going to tell her that it's me.
Yeah.
And that's why I can't be like still. So that's why even when I had my 9 to 5, I would give it my best, because I always saw her giving it her best. And now
Yeah.
to see her in her own
Thriving.
businesses,
Yeah,
thriving,
definitely.
it's a beautiful thing to watch, because I think sometimes that holds us back, where we're like, oh, well, I'm already this age,
Yeah.
or like whatever. No, some people who have it in them will literally thrive
At
50, 60, 70.
yeah.
Like,
No, definitely.
you know, it doesn't matter. I think we need to stop thinking so much how that dream is going to look like, and just ride through the journey.
And I remember I recently was reading too, like, love the era that you're in.
Yeah.
Live in the era that you're in, because like you said, like we're like so busy dreaming about or thinking about what our dream looks like rather than enjoying this era that we're in. So you need to like love. And I was just telling my mom this, because my mom's a dreamer and she's a hustler, and she's always wanted her own house, like to build out her own house, right?
Yeah.
And now she's retired, so like she's been on this hunt for a house, and she like escrow already fell twice, etc. And I was like, you know what, Mom? You need to love the era that you're in and live in the era that you're in. Stop worrying so much about this house that you're looking for. Of course, you know, keep looking for it, but you're not enjoying this retirement because you're so worried about when you're going to build that house. Like, you're going to build it, and we're going to make sure you're going to build it. But if you don't enjoy this era, you're never going to get to that dream that you want, because you're so blindsided. You're so covered with like, oh, I haven't found it. I haven't found it. And I feel like us, we kind of like are always like, well, what can I do to get there? Yes, what can you do? But are you enjoying this life right now? And I think I seen my friend Angelique post on her story, like, this summer has been the most wholesome summer
I did see that.
With like my family, my kids, you know, enjoying her business and just enjoying life. And I feel like we need to take a step back and see, what is it that is going on in your life that you're not enjoying it, and why not? What are you doing?
Well, you know, I like this quote a lot. It's like Kobe Bryant said, the journey is a dream.
Yeah.
Like, you have to step back and just, like I said, ride that journey. Like, that is literally the dream, because you get to one place and then you look back and you're like, oh, you know, like, and you're always going to want more.
Yeah, of course.
So there really is, like, what really is the dream?
Yeah.
And that, to me, it stuck with me so much. Like, it is true. You know, I step back a lot and I'm like, wow, a year ago, 2 years ago, I was asking God for this, and now I'm here.
And now I'm thinking about
like more.
Yeah.
But then I no longer get like sad or super overwhelmed or stressed when something doesn't go right, because again, it's not my timing, it's His timing, and maybe that's not what He has for me.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't keep dwelling on that, because that takes from me, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
and you're never
okay, I'm going to move forward, because I know you got my back.
And then we never get to be where He wants us to be, because we're so determined to get where we think we should be. And it's not where we should be. So it definitely is a journey. It definitely is a lot of self-working and just trying to like tell yourself like, okay, this is what I want, but is this what I need? And is this what's going to make me go to the next step? So I think I've been doing a lot of journaling lately, which I've never used to do. And just kind of writing like, what do I love in this era of my life? Like being able to wake up late and, you know, being able to make my coffee at home and enjoying breakfast with my kids, or just having alone time at home rather than like go, right?
I always go.
So, but you get to be in your car for a couple of minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And
I love being in my car.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, I think we all love to be in our car once we get home. I'm like, hopefully my kids don't see the light through the door, so they don't come outside yet.
My kids have that location, so like as soon as I'm there, they're like outside, and I'm like, where are you coming from? Like, can I just enjoy this time? You definitely want to focus your energy on the stuff that you're grateful for, because it's the same energy that you put on things that don't go right. And then that just messes up your entire vibe. And now you're not at a higher frequency where you should be, you know? So that's something that I started doing too. Like, okay, I'm grateful for this. Or like, no, this went right. So whatever didn't go right, I no longer like put so much energy into that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
So let's start journalizing. Journaling. And say what you're grateful for that day. So this podcast is going to be about a million things, but our main focus really is going to be mom life, entrepreneurship, partnership, because again, we want to emphasize creating partnership in this industry, definitely. And believing in yourself, believing in your faith, whether your faith is universe, whether it's God, whether it's La Virgencita, but there's all faith just really lands in one thing. And I want to remind you guys that believing in yourself and being faithful to who you want to be is super important. our podcast too. We are going to be having different guests come on in.
Yes.
So we're super excited about that. We have a pretty good lineup with the people that we have coming in. So it's not just like business related. I think we get asked a lot about how we handle, how we balance mom life, home life, business life. And it's definitely, we don't handle it, honestly. It just gets thrown at us and we figure it out. Soccer mom life is crazy. Just everything in general. And we're just really excited to continue this journey. And honestly, like we said, we have an idea of what we want to do with the podcast, but I have a feeling this is going to be a lot bigger than what we could imagine. So stay tuned for our next episodes. If you guys have any questions or want to know anything in specific, slide in our DMs. Follow us on all the platforms at Latinas Empoderadas, and we will be here for the next episode. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys for watching.